RMJ Movie Reviews back again with an on-the-fly movie review of Joker. This is the beginning of my Halloween horror-esque movie reviews, and I'm also going to continue my Arnold-a-thon. Excuse me, people. Been going through it, but I try to deliver as much as I can. Man, let's just get right into this, man. Joker was freaking phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. It's a masterpiece. I loved it. It's freaking fantastic. It's freaking fantastic. I just got out the flick. This is just raw, off the cuff, emotional reaction. I love this movie. I love this movie. Let me go into, okay, I'll give a little plot synopsis. I don't even think I have to do that, but I'll go ahead and do it anyway. Joker tells the story of Arthur Felch. It wasn't Fletch, it was Felch, I think. But anyway, he's kind of a gentleman who suffers from some various mental illnesses, and he's taking care of his mother at home, and she believes, is led to believe that she suffers from some mental health issues too. He's kind of a clown as his job, and he gets abused and kind of tormented and pushed around. And basically, the film unravels. The film is his descent into his psychosis and how he becomes what we ultimately know as the master villain, the Joker. And this is an original take of the character. I believe not printed in any kind of comic books or anything. The director Todd Phillips of The Hangover and various other pictures, they came together and they just molded their version of the Joker. And I want to preface this by saying what's most fantastic about this movie, what I loved about it, is how old school it is in its storytelling, in its performances, and just in the way you are immersed in this world. Again, this is definitely taken from the Scorsese handbook of Taxi Driver. I even saw little traces of Falling Down with Michael Douglas, although that's a movie only cult people really know about. But there's those sort of things, Charles Bronson Death Wish, a lot of the 70s, early 80s films. Kings of Comedy, Martin Scorsese's movie, I never saw that. But it heavily, heavily tells this story in the way that Scorsese told Taxi Driver, which was a similar thing of a guy who goes more and more and descends into his psychosis and ultimate acts out in psychopathic ways. And this is the same thing. This is basically the blueprint of Taxi Driver and the film Kings of Comedies, and they put it into the Joker, but it does it very well. You know, the camera sits there, it watches its actors, everything. The movie is a very slow burn. Like, I'd think about Hans Zimmer's score in The Dark Knight, right? Remember how every time the Joker would come on screen, you would hear that those little violins that would go. That's this entire movie. It is just really just, you put it on that violin string and you just go. And ultimately, that's the feeling. You know how tense you get when you hear that? That's the tension that I felt in my body. What I loved is, not to mention just the way they film scenes, how the camera just sits there. It just watches its actors. None of all the fancy editing and all that. It just lets the performance take over in the frame. The camera sits there and watches the actors. The way Gotham is presented, it could be believed, if you didn't know it was a Batman movie, you would just flat out say it's New York City. And how every single frame of this movie is filled with like garbage. Because literally there is like a strike going on in the movie. So like they're not taking out the garbage. So every frame is filled with like garbage, and from all the garbage, the city has come up with these super rats. They're like really huge rats in there, and every frame, everywhere people go, you see garbage on the street. So it really makes you feel like you're in this world that is literally falling apart. The city is decaying everywhere, around everyone, and you take this guy who is already mentally crumbling, and you put him in an environment that's crumbling, that has no respect for him and what he's going through. The man just wants to be heard. He's trying to bring some joy to the world, but the world is like, oh, no, 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 no. We're going to give you a massive beatdown if you try to bring joy to this hellhole. And he can't win. So if he can't win, you know, screw it. If I can't beat him, join him. That's Joker's philosophy in this movie. It may not be consciously his thought process. Towards the end, it becomes that. Excuse me, spoilers. But that's ultimately the way the movie goes along. And also, too, along with the way the environment makes you feel and matches the psychosis, the psychological psychosis of the character Joker, I love the way Joaquin Phoenix immerses himself in this role. He becomes Arthur Fletch. He is this character every frame. I mean, just the way he physically moves, he does these weird little things, and he's doing all this and that. It is nuts. But you would believe that someone who is suffering from mental illnesses and on all sorts of multiple medications would do things like this. And I worked in the healthcare field. I would say a lot of the things in the movie are pretty accurate. I digress. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff in there that's pretty accurate. But I love the way Joaquin Phoenix really immerses himself into this role, man. He lived and breathed this role. It is phenomenal. Now, people were talking about, you know, everybody wants to bring up Heath Ledger. Listen, we love Heath. Heath Ledger was the greatest. He was fantastic. What I can say right now in this review is that this is this version of Joker. This is Joaquin Phoenix and Todd Phillips' version of Joker. It's a different Joker from every other Joker we've ever seen. So this Joker is different from, I know everybody wants to talk trash about the Burton Batman because it's in style, even though all of us were in the movie theater gawking it up back in the 80s. But it's not Jack's Joker. It's not Heath's Joker. Don't nobody shoot me. It's not Jared Leto's Joker. It's not Mark Hamill's Joker, and it's not Cesar Moreno's Joker from TV show. This is another version of the character. And he doesn't at all feel anything like those characters. Like, if you look at Jack Nicholson's Joker, he feels like a darker version of Cesar Moreno's 66 television series. Mark Hamill's version feels like kind of an even more darker version of kind of Cesar Moreno's version. Heath Ledger's character feels like the darkest version of kind of what a Joker character would be. He doesn't feel like the three previous ones I mentioned, but he feels like in an alternate Superman Bizarro world, that would be the Joker. Jared Leto's just kind of feels like its own thing. And I guess you could say, I would say, I want to bring Jared Leto in this because people have really just been kind of disregarding his performance and everything as the Joker and the tats and the gangster thing and the teeth and all that. And I get that, and I understand people's feelings about that. But I will say Jared Leto's version was that kind of alternate, bizarro universe version of the Joker. Except it just went in a direction nobody liked. That's the opposite with Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is his version of Joker, but it's in a direction that is more true to the character of Joker. It's a phenomenal, heartbreaking performance because you're getting a little bit of that Rob Zombie's Devil's Rejects things where it's like, person is doing grotesque and very awful things, but I also kind of feel for him a little bit. So am I supposed to feel for him? Am I supposed to be against him? The movie doesn't tell you how to feel. It leaves that to you to make the decision. And that's what comes to people bitching and moaning about all this stuff. It's going to incite violence. It's going to incite violence. No, it's not. I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre on the Channel 43 8 o'clock movie when I was 7 years old. Hey, and I got a normal job. I got a retirement. Hey, I haven't popped anybody yet, so that's BS. I saw John Wick last summer. He killed 175 people, and I've seen all the Saw movies, and I've seen every bone come out of every part of the body, eyeballs, head split, everything, and no one has gone in and killed anybody. This movie is way less violent than the movies that I just mentioned. So that's just a bunch of BS. The issue is that the movie leaves you to decide how to feel. And that's what makes people uncomfortable, is that you are left to make the decision with your own emotions about, how do I feel about this? That's what the discomfort is, and that's what everybody is bitching and moaning about. That's the fact of the matter. The movie gives you some stuff to think about. It's heavy, man. It's a fantastic performance. I want to say, in De Niro, you know, people have been complaining about De Niro and Pacino and all the, you know, the greats who led the way, kind of cashing checks lately. But De Niro, although screen time is short, he's very good. He's very good in the film. And De Niro, you know, one thing about De Niro is De Niro can still bring it, man. I mean, he's a senior citizen now. I think he might be 80 or almost 80, but he can still bring fear. You know, there's a scene where him and Joaquin Phoenix kind of have a verbal standoff, and it's not like True Romance walking Hopper style standoff, but still it's kind of a verbal clashing of ideas. And De Niro can still bring that heaviness, you know, so he's very good in the film. I just really loved it, man. So I really say Joaquin Phoenix immersion into the character, the way the environment it matches the psychosis of the character, just the way visually, the way the film just takes its time, and also the unpredictability of this dude. There is so much tension and suspense in this movie. Not suspense like is the guy with the knife coming, but just the discomfort of everything that's happening on screen, because you don't know what this dude is gonna do next, because he's so nuts that when he says things, the things he says has double meanings to it. A character could interpret something he's saying to be a joke, and he could say, well, if I go to work, I'm just going to kill somebody. And another character just be laughing like, oh, that's so funny. But you as the audience is like, oh, snap, this dude for real is about to go to work and light it up. So I think that kind of discomfort, it's a very uncomfortable film, but in a good way. We love to watch movies that make us feel something. Man, I cannot rave anymore about this movie. I loved it. It does tie into the Batman universe, although very loose ties, and it has little Easter eggs here and there. It was a phenomenal piece of filmmaking and acting. I loved it. I am going to see it again. I cannot highly recommend Joker anymore. The movie's not for everybody. It is a slow burn, and the story is told in old school 70s, early 80s, Sidney Lumet, Martin Scorsese style. So, you know, if you're not up for that, you know, then you might as well, you know, go watch Transformers or something like that. That'll be more up your alley. But for those of us that like to think and to feel and enjoy the immersion of the performance and the filmmaking, go check out Joker. Thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, hit the bell, leave comments down below about Joker. RMJ Movie Reviews. I will see you all soon.